There are a lot of programs, initiatives, institutions, and activities in our community, and they have been in existence for quite some time. However, we're going to discuss today one of the most important elements and institution and programs in our community, which is education, public education. And then I don't think anybody will argue with me when I say, as public education goes, so goes the community. So I am happy today to have with me uh, the superintendent of Bibb County Schools, Dr. Curtis Jones, and we're going to talk about several important factors as it relates to education. First of all, Doc, I want to congratulate you for the hard work you've done or doing. I want to congratulate you for the progress that the school system has made. And as a citizen and as a businessman, I realize the role that education plays in all of the facets of our community. So you're doing a great job, and just keep it up. And as a citizen and a businessman, I want to personally thank you.
Well, thank you for letting me be on the show again. I love coming to a call for action or call to action. And I also want to thank you for continuing to be a part of our business education partnership. Our teachers and staff have worked very, very hard. Over the past 5 years, they've done a great job. And I thank you for publicly acknowledging that. That pat on the back will go a long way to keep them going forward. So thank you very much.
I started to tell them that I used to be a school teacher, Doc, but I always tell that story. But I mean, that's the source of my belief in the public education system. What you see is what you get, Doc. You know, I went to public school, taught in the public school system here. So I'm a firm and a strong believer in public education. And I know how advantageous it is and can be and how important it is. But let's talk a little bit about you.
Yeah, but you're a role model, though, and you need to remember that because young people can learn from you. They go to school, a lot of times they question why they're going, what's it about? But when you can take what you do and make a living doing it and make a difference where you are, you're a hero. And so I want to thank you for what you're doing and continue to come into our schools and talk to these young folks. They need to hear from us folks that got a little bit of gray on top.
Let's segue into, and we can get more information on you as we go, about how the community, you talked about how important that is to have community individuals and community elements, if you please,
Yep.
involved in education. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, truthfully, I have good teachers, good administrators, but what makes our system different than others are the students who come through the door. And the more supported they are, the better they're going to be prepared to go to school when they enter first grade so they can get out of third grade reading on grade level. And so this community has been exceptional. I'm going to be quite honest. When I got here in 2015, we had to raise the millage rate because our budget was underwater. And the community did it without a fuss. And a lot of times you talk about that increase in taxes, they're going to get mad. We also had to, at the same time, almost pass the E-Splosh. So we were able to continue to renovate our schools. And we have done a great job of that. We have the new Northeast High School that's just been finished a year ago. We have the new Appling Middle School that's now on the same campus with the high school. And it is a fantastic looking example. And my Board of Education just made me so happy recently where we built a new elementary school and named it after John Lewis. I mean, what else can you have? Macon Bibb has a Martin Luther King and a John Lewis elementary school. And so we can't do that without the community. And we have so many mentors who come into our schools helping our students learn to read that it is amazing. I tell that story no matter where I go across the country. So we can't do it by ourselves. We need parents to send kids to school ready to learn, dressed, having slept, and ready to go home and do some homework. So we've been fortunate. I've been very, very pleased with our community support.
I guess for those who don't know, this is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, and as I said, interviewing Dr. Curtis Jones, Superintendent Bibb County schools. Now, let me say this very quickly, Doc. There is, except for spiritually, there is no more important element or institution or organization that you can support, because public education involves everything. It affects everything. It affects crime. It affects the economy. It affects the quality of life. It affects moving to town, people moving to town. It affects the tax base. It affects the good feelings that we have, behavior, everything. Public education plays a major role in that. So how can one become involved?
It's the same thing that goes with the church. You got the 3 T's: times, tides, and talents. And so we've talked a little bit about time, where individuals are able to come in and volunteer. We continue to have a great need for mentors. If you just want to come and mentor an elementary student and give them just somebody to talk to at lunchtime, come in and read to them or let them read to you. It is amazing. They love to show what they've learned, and they like having that conversation. The older students need to be able to see how what they do relates to the real world. So that time is important. When we talk about your talents, tell us, come in and do some guest talks with our students. Tell them about your career, about your struggles. Because a lot of times they think what they're going through, they're the very first ones to have to do it. And they have to recognize they weren't the first and they won't be the last. But they can make it if we share that time and share our talents for what we did to make that work. And then the other part, quite honestly, is money. I mean, I'm not going to call it tides, but for example, we're going through COVID-19. We have a lot of students in poverty. They need to be able to get devices. That costs money. They got to be able to get on the internet. That costs money. Sometimes they got to have decent clothes. We have students who sometimes come in dirty clothes and we have to wash them. So schools have to buy washing machines, and truthfully, I'll be honest, our budget's not so big that you can just buy all that and give them a winter coat or whatever it is they may need. So once you create that relationship, time, talents are the key things that we need.
And without belaboring it, now how can one become involved? I mean, we don't have to talk about all the processes of being involved. Is there a central number or something that one can call?
You can go on our website, which is bcsdk12.net, and find Dr. Lori Rogers. Lori Rogers is in charge of our federal programs. She also supervises our parental support. She would be able to help us get into that process of letting you become a volunteer to help us out. If you don't want to do that one, just call the 8501 number. Tell the operator you just want to volunteer, the switchboard to get you to where you need to be. Absolutely. We make it easy.
Okay, well, I mean, this year, I've heard a lot of comments about 2020. Some people say they'll be mighty glad to see it go. Some people say it has been the most notable year of their lives. And so, I mean, it has been a real challenge for all of us. And then when you've got a school system with how many, 25,000?
We're at 23, sir, 23,000.
Students in it, K through 12 or whatever, I'm sure, and with COVID and its impact and its spread and the situation in Georgia, I'm sure that's a mountain to climb, man, trying to deal with that. So tell me how you're handling that as it relates to safety, as it relates to schools opening, as it relates to instruction. Just look here.
Hey, well, I appreciate that.
Where we at with education? Where we at?
I will do that. I want to commend you again, though. Not many people know how many kids we have. Your 25,000 is what we had before we lost the students who went to ACE. ACE took about 2,000 students with them, and so that's how we kind of dropped down to 23. And that's pre-K through 12th grade. Okay. So where are we? Well, first of all, we started last March, and we had to go through the process of shutting the system down. We looked at the spread of COVID-19, and I'll be honest, we worked with the North Central Health District, the governor's office, the state school superintendent's office, and I read as much as I could to make sure that I knew what was happening. We had to struggle with a couple of things. We had to figure out how to feed our kids. We had to figure out how to give them online instruction. We had to issue a whole bunch of devices. And so it was like, where are we? So we got through that last year, and it's important people recognize that last spring, it was about students not having their grades fall, but they could improve their grades. Now we're in a different place. We're in the beginning of a new year. We have new curriculum, new tasks, new courses that students have to master. So we're in the process now of starting a new school on September 8th. And we're looking forward to seeing all 23,000 kids come. We're going to be starting virtually. And what we have done since school was out is we have been having our teachers go through a whole month of August for professional learning. We put in place a new program called Canvas, which is a learning management system. So all those parents who said last year it was hard, they had elementary kids that got paper packets and they couldn't turn them back in. You don't have to worry about that now. Everything's going to be online. It's electronic. And you don't have to worry about pre-K kids either. You know why? We issue iPads or laptops to all of our students, pre-K through first grade. They got iPads. Second grade through 12th grade, they got laptops. And those who said they were not able to get to the internet, we issued a thing called hotspots. Last spring, we gave out over 1,000 to high school students. Last week, we gave out another 1,000 to students in first grade through 8th grade. One hotspot will let you link in or put on the internet up to 12 devices. We recommend you don't really put more than 4 on that little small hotspot, but if a household has 2 kids, 1 hotspot's enough. And so our staff has been working extremely hard to get those 2 things in place. And I'm very excited about that process.
Okay, that's outstanding now. But if a family already has a hotspot, you know, I mean, a wireless in the home, then there's no need.
There's no need to do that. All they need to do is make sure that if they're using Cox or whatever, that they're able to link into our system. So between now and Tuesday, what I'm asking is that parents go to their school's webpage, look at the open house videos that have been created, sign into our learning management system called Canvas, and make sure that it all works. If it doesn't, give us a call so we're able to help you work through it. Because starting Tuesday, kids are going to be in school. And it's not going to be, I give you an assignment and I'll see you on Friday. I mean, they're going to be checking in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
You're saying that there will be actual electronic virtual instruction.
These teachers we are light years ahead of where we were last year. Yeah. So you will have some live teaching where kids are going to have a certain time where they have to be online with the teacher. And next week it's important, and we're taking attendance. So you know it's got to be live if we're taking attendance. And we're going to be using that to verify that students are online and learning. And so we're very excited about how this new process is going to work for us.
Now, what would be your advice, Doc, to parents, you know, because it's extremely important. You know, I've heard all kind of, well, I don't want to call them excuses, but whatever, as it relates to the difficulty. And, you know, we all realize, you know, that they're already losing something. You know, we all realize the importance of in-person, but it is what it is for right now. So what would be your advice to the parents to make sure that to the extent possible, that young man or that young woman or that child gets the full value or the full benefit of that virtual experience in school?
There's several things. One, I would ask that parents make sure they're comfortable with whoever's going to be supervising their child. They need to have that peace of mind. They also need to call back and check in on their children throughout the day to make sure they didn't go do something. I don't have teachers who are standing over them at this one point in time. When the parent gets home from work, they will now be able to go back online and look and see what work the child was supposed to do.
Wow.
They can go into the parent portal and be able to see what assignment has been offered. And again, we have a new program called Remind. So if the parent has a question, they'll be able to directly contact the teachers. Teachers will now be able to use their personal cell phones to talk to parents, but it won't give the teacher's private number. But you know how often parents would say the school never called me? This Remind program is going to track who calls whom and how long that conversation lasted, so we don't have those issues. A lot of people say that when you work from home, you get to do it in your pajamas. You want to lay in bed. Kids don't need to have on pajamas and be laying in bed trying to go to school. They need to dress just like they're going to school, just like when you're working from home, you need to dress like you're going to work. It changes your mindset, it gives you the right attitude, and it puts you in the frame of reference. Second thing, give them a dedicated place to work. It doesn't need to be in the bed again, because if it's in the bed, you're going to go to sleep. It doesn't need to be with the TV on, it needs to be off. And so give them as best you can a work area, whether it's in the dining room area or the kitchen or wherever, so they have a place where they know this is where I'm supposed to be doing school. And I think when the parent and the student come to that mindset, we're going to be good. Another thing, we've talked about students have to eat. And so there are two things that students can do. One is they can sign up for meals every day for the food that they want to get the next day. That would be for breakfast and lunch. They can also sign up for the week. We have go to our website, you're able to sign up, and when you sign up for it, tell us where you want to pick it up. Two options. One option is to go to the school at curbside service and pick up the 2 meals for that day. Or if you ride a bus, go to your bus stop. At your bus stop, you're able to meet the bus. Because you've already told us how many meals that you wanted to meal, we'll give you your 2 meals. Now you got to know your student ID number because we got to count for the meals. But once you tell us you're signing up for it, we will have it prepared. And so the statement is, so parents know what time the bus is supposed to get there. So we have the My Stop, My Bus app. So they're able to use that, know what time the bus should be there. So kids don't have to be out for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. They can walk out for about 5 minutes before the bus gets there, see the bus, get it, and go back home. The parent can tell what time the bus is supposed to be there. Using the My Stop app, they'll be able to know they see the bus in live time with GPS. So there's, all right, I see the bus is about 5 minutes away. Go on out there and get your food. Call me when you get back. That way we won't have kids messing around and we can make sure they're safe. Those are some things that I can think of that will help us.
Now, what about people or parents, and I think this is important, and I've got a couple of ideas, who are not that savvy as it relates to technology and the internet? Is there a system, a process, a program in place?
We got you covered. We got you covered. That new program that we call Canvas.
You like the morning dew, man.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm feeling good about the progress that we've made. So I told you a couple of times now about our new learning management system called Canvas. What will happen now is a kindergartner will open up their iPad and they're gonna go to their opening page called Class Link. And on Class Link, there are gonna be a bunch of icons. They'll be able to click on their teacher's classroom, and then it will open up a new page, and then they can pick on math or reading or whatever, and it will take them directly to where they have to go. And so we're doing all we can to take all the complications out. It's just like when you go to college. It's just click, click, click is the way it ought to be. But remember what I said earlier. Go use Canvas now before Tuesday so you know it works, and because you got to go through a little bit of setup. Now, we've already made sure that the hotspots we passed out were good. We've already made sure the laptops that we gave and iPads were working. And so we are confident on our end. We did what we call a stress test. We had all our teachers get online. We had every computer turned on, and they were projecting just like they were teaching their class. So we're kind of like Cox. We can get it out. The question is, can you bring it in once it gets to your house? That's what needs to be worked through, and we're going to work on that. So the kids have been using Teams from last spring, so they know a little bit about it. But, I guess I'm going to say if it's still complicated for a grandparent or a great-grandparent, the Remind app, just get on the phone, call the school, tell them what your problem is, and we will talk you through it. Because it's to our advantage to get this worked out during the first week of school than it is to let it drag on and on and on. Because I can't tell you when we're going to go back to in-person instruction yet.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I didn't know whether there was any kind of projection as it relates.
The projection I have is a lot of people around me are starting to do it, go back to in-person. And when I look at the COVID-19 situation, I ask myself, how can they do that? I mean, I've shared a little bit, but I look at two factors. I want to know how many cases per 100,000 people have captured COVID over the last 2 weeks. There's a newsletter that comes out from a professor at Mercer that I look at that talks about Georgia. Sometimes she talks specifically about Bibb and the United States. That's one. I use another weekly summary that comes out from the North Central Health District that tells me what those numbers are. And as you know, the governor's office also puts out information through the Department of Public Health. All three of those, I look to see if they're telling me. If we have more than 100 cases per 100,000 people, we're in what they call significant spread. And we have been in significant spread since March. Our numbers, so that number 100, when we decided that we would do virtual, we were 6 times the number.
Wow.
For community spread to be significant. 6 times. Right now, we're 3 times the number when I just checked this week. And so we have to do a lot more of wearing masks, socially distancing, washing our hands, and making sure that we don't give it to other people. The only way I'm going to be able to get kids back in school is I feel confident that putting them in school will be safe. And right now, the spread in the community is just too high. You know, a lot of people want to say, oh, that's happening in the hospital or that's happening in a senior home. In Bibb County right now, when we made our decision, the community spread where they can't relate it to individual place was over 90%. Over 90% means it's just out there in different places and you can't say, I won't go there, because it's everywhere you go.
You don't know where it is.
That's right. You don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that, Doc, and I wish you would repeat it, because what you are saying is the community's responsibility as it relates to helping to prevent this disease. And there are certain steps that we all can take.
We want a chance to get our CCRPI above 70. We want a chance to get our graduation rate above 80. And so as long as we got this process going on, is making it more difficult for us. I am thankful to the daycares and the churches that are helping us, because while some parents have to go to work and leave children, some of those facilities are saying, we will take these children on and we're going to provide daycare for them. And they're letting them get on their Wi-Fi so they'll be able to get to the curriculum that they need. That has been great. I'm also very thankful to the county government for what they've been doing. We have been working together. And what that means is we know what the requirements are for wearing masks. We know it's important to socially distance. We know it's important not to get into large groups. And so we've been consistent with that. I'm gonna be honest, my teachers were very, very nervous in August when I said, it's time for y'all to come back to work. I need you in the buildings, because they saw what the numbers were like everybody else. And so the community, though, started getting the numbers down. We sanitize our classrooms, for example, now twice a week. We have gloves, we have masks. Man, I got masks out the wazoo, where we're just trying to make sure everybody's ready. I got a mask from Burdell Hunt. I got a mask that says VIP. I got a mask from Ingram Pie. I got a mask from Rutland. I have a mask from Hutchins College and Career Academy.
Wow.
We believe in wearing masks and socially distancing, because that's how we're going to get kids back in school. And young people have to recognize that over the last 3 weeks, the age group from, I think it was like 14 through 35 are the ones who are getting COVID the most, because they're out there. Colleges have opened back up. Schools have opened back up. Sports are now back in session again. You're getting more close contact, and it's almost like we're back to normal. But COVID-19 is still here.
Personally encourage, the students, and I want to thank the teachers and the administrative staff and all the support staff. And it's very, very comforting, Doc, that you all have gone through all these changes, all these adjustments, and all of these modifications, so you can continue to provide the kind of quality education that the school system is designed to do, and effectuate the kind of change in behavior that you would want to see.
One of the reasons we can do it is because we listen to you. And somebody gave me the last time I was on this show a call to action. and I knew we had to go out and produce. Our staff is working hard, and I want to thank the parents who've left their students with us. We have had a reduction of about, I'm going to say 50 children where they have left us to go to another place where the parent couldn't provide the daycare and couldn't figure it out. But for those who are going to be with us, they're going to be impressed. I really do believe. We have our one-to-one initiative so that by the end of October, first part of November, students are going to be getting new devices that we're going to have more speed, more memory, that's going to even make it even better. I mean, we are just in a much better place than where we were. So I'm excited for the work we're doing. Principals and teachers have been doing a great job. Board of Education has been very supportive. It has been good. So I thank you. And when you give us the next call to action, I'm going to make sure my teachers and staff hear you and we follow through.
Hey, man, you've made a lot of progress. And then give that website again.
So you can go to www.bcsdk12.net.
The phone number, just in case somebody wants to call the board.
478-765-8507.
Now, one other question before you leave. So you're saying that everybody will have access to that information technologically?
They should. And so I will go ahead and say this publicly. If a person says they cannot get to the internet or they don't have a device, in some cases, they don't want to get to the internet or they don't want a device because we're doing all we can. We have issued right now over 13,000 devices. We have 23,000 kids. And we've also now issued almost 1,700 hotspots, and we have more. So they need to come let us. And here's the other thing. We didn't mention this. We now got a virtual school going, VIP Academy. Dr. Julia Danley over at SOAR Academy is now taking students from elementary through high school who just want to learn remotely. And she's helping them. It's primarily aimed at people who are homeschool or private school. And we're going to be using the Edgenuity curriculum. We're very excited about that too. So we're making some changes, sir. We're making some changes.
The other way to stay informed is to maybe call a number and try to get the newsletter and the board brief.
Yep.
So if you really want to help keep up with what's going on, then you can call. I mean, I know there's a process where you can call or go to the website.
All they have to do is go onto the website. You can click on our Let's Talk button, tell us that you would like to get the newsletter, give us your name, your email address, and we'll start sending it to you.
Having gotten a truckload of information about education that's going to begin on September 8th, it's school time.
It is school time.
And Dr. Jones and his staff, have done a phenomenal job. And let me tell you something. This is my advice to the parents and the students. This is one of the best things. Look, a good education is better than apple pie because it's going to put a sweet taste in your mouth for the rest of your life. So for parents and kids and everybody, do what you're supposed to do to get educated because Doc has given all the resources. He got all kinds of help for everybody. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, having interviewed Dr. Curtis Jones, Superintendent of the Bibb County Board of Education. Have a learned day.